Hi there and welcome to the Labyrinth today. Thanks for joining me. It's been a big week, but also a slow week and an interesting week for me. How's it been for you? I'm interested to hear. First of all, I'd like to actually say thank you to the returning subscribers and to the new subscribers. And I appreciate you being part of my journey. Today's video is going to be a quick one. I've been focused on doing some new tasks, but you will have noticed some changes. But before we go there, let's have a look at what's been happening in my front garden. So if you've listened to my yarning videos before, you'll know that more recently I've been doing a chitter-chatter section and talking about animal symbolism. So for this week, I'm going to talk about the visits I've had from the Kookaburra, because the Kookaburra is just an amazing bird, obviously, with an amazing laugh. And I'd love to explore what's called animal medicine or animal symbolism. Now, like many people, I tend to have a preconceived idea of what the animal actually represents when it comes in for a visit. And generally it's accurate, but it's helpful. So my recommendation here is it's helpful to go and Google to remind yourself, because there's a lot of information about each specific animal or bird that comes into your garden. And so, of course, my associations with kookaburras are that it's about laughing, it's about having fun, not taking ourselves too seriously, and also about communication. And all of this is true. But when we explore it more fully, and we can do this if you've got enough time, you can do this by meditating and reflecting and doing that access your inner guidance. Look, I'm a bit lazy. I'm like everybody else. Time is limited. So I will quite often, instead of meditating, just go and do a Google, read what somebody else may have written from a reputable website, by the way, because I've seen a couple. So here's my tip to you. I've seen a couple of websites where they tend to only focus on one aspect, and that's the bit that they want to know. Whereas I've got a couple of really good websites that I'll go and visit to remind myself from time to time, and they talk about the animal medicine comprehensively. And this is what I found with the Kookaburra. There was a comprehensive reminder of the messages and medicine of the Kookaburra, which is he reminds people, yes, we know that business of don't take yourself too seriously, but the reminder in that is if you're taking yourself too seriously, then laugh. Even if you're fake laughing. We talked about this in one of the other videos I've loaded on mental health crisis interventions, where when we fake laughter, if we throw ourselves into it and really get the old body shaking and all the rest of it, even if we're not genuinely laughing, the body has a physiological response to laughter, and whatever burdens we might have in our life tend to become lightened through the process of laughter. So this is one of the key messages of medicine as well, of the Kookaburra, is that have a laugh, because you can cope with anything when you're laughing. But more importantly, or what I consider to be more important and relevant for me at this particular stage, and this is why I say, look, there is no coincidence when these birds come into our garden. He carries a message of family and the importance of the family unit and the importance of looking at what our responsibilities are to our family members, and this can be our parents, our siblings, our children, and what theirs are towards us, right? And this is particularly important in families where there's dysfunction, because we all, I think in a modern society, there's this concept that, they don't treat me well, they were not the mother I wanted them to be, they were not the father, the siblings and whatever. So there becomes this judgmental, conditional love that we extend to family members. But the Kookaburra reminds us that it doesn't matter really what people do. If you're being disrespected or you feel disrespected, then it's important to actually communicate to those people in your family that you feel disrespected and ask them to treat you appropriately. Now, I will say, based on my experience as an old duck these days, that that's not always beneficial. You can try, but relationships take work from both parties. And so you might be prepared to open the door and have a conversation, but they might not be. And there's a matter of respecting that. The key really is, I believe, in harnessing your emotions within dysfunction and about processing it. And this is the beauty of the medicine of Kookaburra, is to unpack the reasons why relationships have become strained as they are. What's behind it? There is going to be an inner truth and a value that is associated with yourself, myself, and everybody in the party. as to what is important to them, and there has been conflict. Now, even if you can't resolve the conflict because there's core differences, you can find peace within that and understanding. And that understanding might simply be just about who and what you are and what is important to you, because this will become your wisdom that you can share with other people as you get to know the truth of who you are. And that, of course, applies to me. So within this context, Kookaburra medicine is, hunt down the truth of the whys and hows, know our personal values, know what stands true. Once we really truly know it, then we can be of benefit to the larger society. Now, when I talk about Kookaburra being timely with the medicine for me, and this I think is extremely humorous, but it was just very opportune that they flew in on this particular day, is because earlier in the day, I had received a phone call. I may as well just be straight up because nobody knows my son's name or anything like that. My son phoned me up and he just was very simple and said, "Look, Mum, can you loan me $25? Can you put it into my bank account, do a bank transfer?" Because he'd made an error with his budgeting and he only needed 25, so he wasn't asking for a lot. Now, I'm not filthy rich, but my thoughts were, if I've got to go through the trouble of doing a bank transfer, I may as well do it for more than 25. So I threw in a bit of extra. Not a lot, because I'm not a millionaire, but I threw in a bit extra because I decided, you know what, bottom line, he's one of my healthy family relationships and I love him and I don't reward him very often. And it seemed timely to me just to give him a bit extra to put a smile on his face. So anyway, it was an impulsive gift, and I got a phone call where, obviously from him saying thank you very much and I didn't need to. And it was, he was so touched by it. And that was heartwarming to me as well, because it wasn't expected by him that I would do this. So my response was obviously, as you would do, don't worry about it. Consider it to be an early birthday present. Just buy yourself something that you like with it, right? Anyway, the medicine of Kookaburra is spend some money, even if it's not their birthday. Shower your loved ones with gifts, about relationship building. And it doesn't matter if you don't have money, you can actually give them a handmade present or something like that. But it's about doing a material, symbolic recognition of that person's worth to you. So that's why I say this was quite timely. Kookaburra came in this day. But there's another, I think, that was far more important message for myself, as far as a timing perspective goes, and that's to do with the shadow medicine. And this is where not all sites will talk about the shadow aspects, and they are equally as important as the positive and joyful messages. So the relevance of the shadow side for the Kookaburra is actually very applicable for myself at my age and stage in life. It's an extremely confrontational medicine, if you like. It teaches us some pretty harsh and abrasive lessons, but at the same time, there's much wisdom. So basically, it's about something that I've always believed in, to be honest. Not everybody does in this time and age. And what I'm talking about here is the importance of family despite dysfunction, and the fact that family members may not meet our expectations of what and how a mother, father, brother, sister, and even our children should behave. So we have these preconceived ideas and notions of what that looks like, and invariably in modern society, we've got family breakdown units and a lot of judgment around people based on our expectations. Now, my perspective, and I seem to be a lone voice here, is that it doesn't actually matter. The word narcissist is really bandied around as well. Oh, my mother was a narcissist, my father was a narcissist, all of this kind of thing. Now, that can be true. I'm not saying that it's not true. But the point is, from my perspective, my parents are the reasons that I'm alive. Whether or not they were good parents, if the only thing they contributed to my life was actually to give me breath and to give me an opportunity to make my own decisions, then that's something that I personally feel grateful for. However, I'm a lone voice with this because, there are those people that say, cut them off and that kind of thing. Well, Kookaburra medicine is basically similar to my rationale. So for me, it was a confirmation of my values, which is that we don't have to cut them off. Family is important. We can keep them on the peripherals, of course, but there is a rationale to family and community, and that is about the survival of the pack or survival of the species. So we don't need to cut them all off. Even if they're not nourishing us or giving us the respect that we deserve, they are still important to keep on the peripherals. So basically, Kookaburra medicine, and I'll read through a bit of it here and I'll interject with my thoughts, is we are encouraged to respect family regardless of any arguments and deceptions we might have experienced, or if we have actually attempted to deceive them. And we're encouraged to confront these family issues by allowing the dramas of the past to surface. This can be within our reflections, and to experience any feelings of loneliness, isolation or separation that we have because of this family breakdown, if you like, because when we allow ourselves to experience that, then we can recognize that actually social connection is important to us, and that can prompt us as part of our healing journey to connect with other people. Now, the timing of Kookaburra's visit was perfect for me because I had actually been reflecting and in conversation with family members towards this shadow aspect on the day that Kookaburra blew in, because we've got our own family estrangements. And when I was speaking with my brother, we were discussing about the fact that within our own family unit, there were some really strained tensions, of course, with our parents. And there is some real exclusionary bounds between some of the siblings. Obviously, we're a large family. And what we were talking about is, because now my brother and I are quite older, a lot older, actually, and we were discussing the fact that these estrangements are interesting, and because both he and I have the capacity to reflect, and we'd both been reflecting independently and both reached the same conclusion that a lot of these breakdowns didn't need to occur. There was some lies happening, shall we say. There was a lot of deception, and the problem is that because we're now older, so I think it depends on everybody's situation, because we are now so much older, we don't see that these relationships will ever be able to be healed or resumed because they have gone on for too long. The other families that are on the peripherals to us, the ones that won't, just to be clear here, neither my brother nor I have slammed doors on them. We're open to reconnecting in neutral territory, if you like, on a safe ground with respect to each other. So, putting in some firm, healthy boundaries around reconnecting. So both he and I are open to this, but there are two siblings that won't be. And we were discussing the fact that the reason why they won't be is because they're frightened. They won't be able to look us in the eye because they know that they've actively participated in lying and deception and this kind of thing. Whereas for my brother and myself, we've just got to that stage in life where it's like, you know what, it's actually really sad in some ways, but it is what it is, and we can't change that. It doesn't make what they've done okay, but the point is they are still our siblings. And, the bottom line is, I think both he and I probably have that family value mentality, if you like, that if they were in their hour of need and they approached us, we would still support them, but we would do it with great caution, because we know that historically, we know that they will bite the hand that feeds them, so to speak. But we would still be there for them because we are family. And this is why family, when we talk about that, is important to have that value of family, because when push comes to shove, when the world turns its back on a person, family is important. And sometimes having a mother or a father who's not necessarily the best mother or father in the world, but is still your mother and father, is better than no mother or father, if you get my drift. But anyway, so it was just really timely the way Kookaburra came in, really timely. And as I said, besides the deep part of this medicine, there's still joy associated with it. And this is what Kookaburra does teach and encourage as well, is even within these reflections, to lighten up, have a laugh. It is what it is. Life is what it is. So while I'm talking about Kookaburra and animal medicine, I guess it's timely to mention Planet Wild. I just want to throw a little bit of a disclaimer in here. Look, while I am into the environment and loving the earth and the animals upon it and all the rest of it, I'm not one of those rabid people that does the, oh my God, you can't eat them we're all part of the food chain from where I sit. And also my faith and my belief is that animals also reincarnate. They have more than one life. There's no finality to it. And I believe they actually have a divine plan. So I can imagine there's people out there going like, what, is she crazy? Yeah, look, we all live, we all die, we all get born again. Simple as. How we die obviously is going to vary from one to the other, but I believe that we're all here on the planet to sustain each other, and that includes eating animals, because we are part of the food chain as well. And I don't think, look, let's not go down that pathway. Bottom line, anyway, is I'm not here to beat you over the head talking about having an enviro-woke approach to life. What I thought I would mention, because I found this channel on YouTube, it was one of these videos that came up on my screen, and I was so enamored by it. I thought, oh, if I was younger, I would go over and be part of this. It just looks fascinating fun. What they're doing that is actually different to a lot of these other environmental organisations is it's a volunteer. I believe it's a volunteer. I could be wrong. Check out the website yourself. But either way, all I had to do was write a comment to support these people on one of their channels, to encourage them and their sponsors to invest more money into revegetating and reforesting a particular area. And I thought, okay, I can do that, because they had this video where they were talking about the fact, looks a bit stark, they're saying it's in Scotland, we had to chop down 10,000 trees, which straight away it's like, oh my God, I'm in to save the trees, not chop the trees down. But what they did was they had a video and they explained it was necessary to take down these 10,000 trees because they had been planted to replace the natural habitat, if you like, and they were not suited to the area and what had happened within the construction. I mean, it was done with good intention by people trying to reforest the planet, but it was actually negatively impacting on the birds and the little animals in the area, and they were no longer thriving, and in fact they were becoming endangered species. So what they're doing is they're revegetating this entire forest. They've knocked down 10,000 trees. They've replaced them with natural trees, which obviously are going to be saplings. Those trees that they have knocked down, although they're not native to the area, they become a habitat for the little fauna that's in the area. And so basically the species are going to be regenerated as well as the trees. So it's about the animal species as well. Anyway, it gave me a warm fuzzy in my heart, okay? And I thought that is just incredible what they're doing. And you might enjoy looking at what they're doing as well. And yeah, so I just thought I would bring it to your attention to maybe pop over there, have a look at what they're doing. It's just incredible. They're not restricting it to one part of the world. Apparently they've got different places in the world where they go into areas. The video that I saw, it was about a forest in Scotland, and it was only so much acreage. So it starts small. I know I've seen videos where they've done it in the US where they actually thought the wolves were going to go extinct, but they fixed up the area and now the wolves are starting to thrive as a species in that area. So it's the same deal here with Planet Wild, at least in Scotland, and I can't remember all the other places in the world they're working, but you might enjoy taking a look at it. So, what's new this week? Leaving all that aside, let's have a chat now about what's been happening on the channel and what you will have noticed go up this week if you have subscribed and clicked the Get Notified. So, what's new this week? Leaving all that aside, let's have a chat now about what's been happening on the channel and what you will have noticed go up this week if you have subscribed and clicked the Get Notified. So, what's new this week? Leaving all that aside, let's have a chat now about what's been happening on the channel and what you will have noticed go up this week if you have subscribed. Well, hopefully in the first instance, you've noticed that we've started loading the colour content. The intention, of course, is that we're going to load 2 of these a week because there's a lot of them to get through, by the way. There's about 48 videos attached to this series, and this is why I've been really busy this week. There's a lot to get through. And one thing I did take on board from the loading of the universal laws is that if I get bored, let's just say, by the time we get to the end of it, I am absolutely bored, stupid. So what I'm trying to do with the colour ones is actually do them now while I'm feeling passionate, motivated and enthused, which is actually a level of pre-recording and preparation. And then I will just load them as 2 a week so that people don't get spammed out. Anyway, the first thing is that I've done some videos that are introductions to colour healing. There's about 4 of them. And that's more of that information and education type stuff. And once we go into the next videos, which are the ones that I'm working on now, then we're looking at the specific and individual colours. We're looking at them from a messenger viewpoint, which includes the oracles. We're looking at them from metaphysical understandings. And while I also do have oracle cards, I've been working with colour. I think the best way to describe it is probably since about year 2000 when I did my first Reiki attunements, because after that my clairvoyant gifts started to kick in and I was able to see auras, and when I was doing Reiki treatments on people, I was actually able to see colours and interpret them. So I've been working with colours now for many years. So within the context of this content that I'm going to be loading, I'm also bringing my personal experience and knowledge to the table. And as usual, whenever I load anything, I don't think I can emphasize it enough that this is my experience. It doesn't necessarily make it true for everybody. It doesn't mean it's a universal thing that because this works for me, it's got to be the same for everybody else. I'm well aware that other people are going to have different interpretations, different understandings. Life is not one size fits all. There's going to be variations. And I encourage people to put their own comments up, their own beliefs and thoughts. And this is in regard to any of the content that I put up, because I think the more information that goes into the pool, the more it can be taken out individually and people can use what feels right to them. So anyway, I'm working on this content, quite time consuming, but it's an area of passion for me. So, of course, I also did load up the content on Archangel Zadkiel. And just a reminder that when we start working with the angelic energy, it's really powerful. It can happen very, very quickly. And one of my observations, particularly with the creation of this video, is that I felt energy because what I did was I actually did an activity. I've put an activity into this video. It's the silver violet flame, and my plan was to do a demonstration to show you guys how it works. And then what happened was I did it, tried to show you, thinking I was doing an example. But what happened is, because I'm energy aware, I actually felt energy immediately. It almost stopped me in my tracks doing the video. But what happened, where I'm going with this is, I continued to feel the energy on and off for the next couple of days. And I then actually have observed some fairly significant changes happening in my life, which is very pleasurable. It's very beautiful. And I would actually go as far as saying, historically when we talk about, or certainly when I talk about energy and teaching energy, I'm always encouraging people to ensure that they remain grounded and not allow themselves to go off with the fairies in their head, because that ends up, if they become ungrounded, it just creates a lot of problems in their life. Long story short, has with me anyway. I'll talk about that one day on here, perhaps, and share with you some experiences of what not to do as you do your growth and development. But anyway, I found that the energy was very grounded, very practical for me. I've been making a lot of progress, as I say, with this work that I'm doing at the moment. And I really hope that you're going to enjoy seeing them. And I'll talk about what's happening with the angel content on the next slide. So with numerology, we're still looking at the implications of a specific number on the birth chart, or an absence of it on the birth chart. And this continues to be loaded on a Monday. This Monday coming, as in tomorrow, we're going to be looking at the number 6. After that, logically speaking, we're going to look at 7, 8, and 9. And from there, we're going to start looking at different meanings of the birth chart. And those meanings that we're going to look at is the arrows on the birth chart. Now, at this stage, because I haven't started doing the recording of it, I've just started doing the prep, I don't know how many videos will need to be made when we speak to the arrows on the birth chart. Maybe 2, possibly 3. but we'll see once I start doing it. I'll keep you in the loop anyway. So all things going well, we should start to see more of the angel content going up more regularly. I'm working on it bit by bit, day by day. The aim is to actually put up a fortnightly angel video. If you look at the angel hierarchy, if you are specifically interested in angels, take a look at the angel hierarchy video in that angels playlist. And if there's one that you particularly want to know about, let me know, write a comment, and I will prioritize that one as being one of the first ones to load. Because a lot of the time when I do content and when I'm being creative, I tend to be responsive to people actually asking questions or informing me that they've got an interest somewhere. And that can be people that are just on the YouTube channel responding. Obviously, there's not a lot of that happening at the moment, I must say, so you are invited. But it could be people that I connect with offline as well that have got an interest. And rather than me bang on about stuff all the time because I feel like a broken record, my preference is just to load the content online and say, you know what, here's a link, go and knock yourself out. Take what resonates with you and let go of what doesn't. So either way, the angel content will be going up fortnightly. As I say, if you've got a preference, let me know and I'll fast track those ones, because now that we've got the full Archangel content up, we're kind of liberated to start and explore the other angels at any time that we want. In regard to the artwork, I haven't loaded a reel for that this week because actually there's two reasons for that. One is there doesn't seem to be a big response to it for whatever reasons. And the other thing is too, I've actually been really busy this week working on the colour content, so I haven't really had a lot of time to get in there and do some more creative arts, shall we say. But I will be doing them. I know maybe in the next week or two I will probably end up doing more of this artwork, and so we might see the art reels going up just so I can share it with you. In regard to the quotes, I'm continuing to put them up. But I'm changing them. I think I'm stopping with the AI. I think I've made the decision to go with my own voice on that to make it feel more authentic, because I think AI is a bit impersonal, and the only problem is, being realistic about this, is the quality of the recording of my voice for doing the quotes. I'm not sure that it actually works terribly well, but I will give it a shot. And please do give me feedback. It's not going to happen. I've got a couple of videos that are pre-recorded with the AI voice, I think up until about maybe the beginning of April. But after that, I'm going to use my own voice. Now, I would encourage you to, if you think that it's not sitting right and it's better to use the AI, let me know and I'll change it over again, because as I say, for me, it's about the quality of the sound, the tone of my voice, getting even tones, because, hey, I'm human and I'm flawed, and sometimes I get distracted. You know what it's like? You go off with the fairies and you turn your head away from the microphone. And look, suffice to say, I think I could do better, but whatever. I'll wait to see what people have got to say. If I go back to doing the art reels, because I'm going to load the colour content on a Tuesday and is it Tuesday? Yes, Tuesday and Friday. Then I will do the art reels together with the quotes, because they're both only short reels. I'll put them up on a Wednesday. So yes, obviously your feedback welcome. Thank you. So my friends, that's this week's update. That's about all that I can share with you. I'd like to say thank you very much again for being part of my journey. Just an update in regard to the internet, if we want to close with a bit of humour. I haven't been given any more information about the progress of installing the internet upgrades, the lines and that kind of thing. But what I can share with you humorously is that big tree that I keep talking about here. I have seen men in work gear on a number of days. They walk up, they poke around, they've got the area cordoned off as they do, and I see them go out the front, and there could be two of them at a time and that kind of thing, and then they're prodding around it. They look like they're about to start work. Then they get this like glazed, confused look over their face. They just don't know what to do with this big tree, I think. And then they seem to disappear, and then I've got to wait for somebody else to come out. So obviously putting the internet So I say you can have a sense of humour. Getting my internet upgraded because of this beautiful, amazing tree that I've got out the front with all these birds in it is proving to be a real challenge for these poor technicians. But we can live in hope. We can live in hope. And as I've always said, I'd rather see the tree secure with the bird life anyway. So I'm just going to leave that thought with you. I'm going to quit waffling on now and say, look, thank you very much. Have a wonderful week. Take care. I'll catch you on the next video. Bye-bye for now.